What's going on, everybody? Goofy Rex here. Hope you guys are doing well today, tonight, whenever it is that you guys do watch this video. So this is actually the second part of a video that I just did on what are character progression points and why you should implement them. This video is actually going to be directly just about the progression points themselves that you should use to help to grow your roster. These are just my opinions, so of course, feel free to kind of modify this if, to make it work for yourself, but, these are just kind of just my opinions of what I think works and what I've done so far. So in this video, I'm just going to be talking about the 5 progression points and kind of just the gear tier abilities and the level abilities too as well that I would recommend. These are not only progression points that you can use, in my opinion, in terms of efficiency, just like your gold, your gear usage, and actually, feeling your character development. These are also kind of just a guide that I also recommend for just using for important characters. So not like your trash characters, like your Nebulas, like your Hydra Grenadiers, your Night Nurses. I'm not talking about those characters. I'm talking about characters that you're actually planning on using in the game and using on your roster. So that's what we're going to be going over today. But before we dive right into it, guys, please, if you guys could do me a huge favor, please hit the subscribe button. Also, as well, hit the notification bell. Really supporting the channel if you do that. So please make sure that you guys do that. Also, you guys can check me on Twitch. I do live streaming on Twitch from Tuesday through Friday on Marvel Strike Force. I'm also on there on Mondays, Legendary Mondays specifically, so you guys can also catch me there too as well. And please, hop in my Discord. You can get notifications also from when I do post videos on YouTube, as well when I do go live on Twitch. So you'll get those also in my Discord too as well. My Twitter page the link is also there too as well. I post pretty much something every single day, so you guys can always link up with me too as well there. So the first progression point that I actually wanted to dive right into was your kind of like your basic kind of start out progression point, which is level 25, gear tier 5, with your abilities at 3, 2, 2, 1. So the reason why I mentioned going up to level 25, it's not really that expensive on gear, but it's actually a pretty, especially on gold, but it's a good pretty much starting point that you can use early part of the game. It will do some early things for you in terms of like campaign activities. It's also what I use in terms of like blitz reset teams. These are just for characters, like I said, once again, that you actually plan on using in your roster. Now, the abilities at 3, 2, 2, 1, you want to get it at least up to level 25, because without level 25 you can't equip the basic at level 3, and you want to be able to max out the basic at least when it comes to these progression points, because the basic is what you're essentially going to be using the most, right? So you want to make sure that you at least build it out to the place where, okay, well, I need to at least get to this level in order to be able to use the basic. So that's the reason why I brought it up to level 25. Gear tier 5 is also the last place that you can go, the last place that you can use green gear, right? So after gear tier 5 to get to gear tier 6, you have to start using your blue gear. So once again, that's kind of the reason why I put that stopping point there. Level 25 is the minimum that you need to equip the basic at 3, and then gear tier 5 is also the last equipment of the green gear that you can use. After that, you have to start using this little blue gear, which is your T2 ability material. Prior to that, it's your T1 and then your green gear. So that's pretty much basically the reason why I have level 25, gear tier 5, and 3, 2, 2, 1. Still a good place for you to at least start out using the character and get some efficiency out of him early on in the game. The next progression point that I would recommend is your level 45 gear tier 7 with the abilities at 5, 4, 4, 2. As you can see, once again, level 45 is the minimum that you need to bring the basic up to 5, 4, 4, 2. It's also right before the point where you start having to use this T3 ability material tool as well. So I think this is a good place where you can start to, if you're like doing certain things like your early war, right? Or if you're starting to do things like, Ultimates 5, or like your earlier Ultimates raids. This is actually a good place where you can start to use this team. I think it's actually an effective and an efficient place to go. You're still going to be able to get some damage, to be able to get some abilities going. The basic is at least at 5, which is one before level 6, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. This is where you want to bring your full synergized teams. I would say, like if you only have Doctor Strange, you don't want to just want to do that for Doctor Strange. You want to make sure that Doctor Strange the entire supernatural team is there before you start gearing up and leveling up, you know, to level 45. You want to make sure that your full synergized teams are the ones that you're bringing up to this next stopping point. You know, an exception really is like your standalone characters, like your SSM, your Minerva, your Captain Marvel, your Hela, you know, kind of like most legendaries, you know, that can be used, that can be standalone. I would bring up to this point, but I would say earlier on, only bringing characters up to level 45 gear tier 7 as a progression point if you have that team at a full, you know, synergized level. Now, when it comes to gear tier, you can actually bring in this character up to gear tier 8 too as well. It's not gonna really gonna hurt you that much, but for the sake of trying to build out multiple teams, that's the reason why I stopped it at gear tier 7. But if you want to advance it just a little bit more, I do have another progression point here, which is at level 50 gear tier 8. The abilities do go up to 5553, so that's the reason why I increased the ability to increase the leveling to to level 50. It's because you have, in order to go to 5553, which is really kind of like a really nice war spot that you can be in, you know, so if you're in early on war, you can actually do some pretty good stuff if you have a versatility of teams at level 50 gear tier 8 5553. So the reason why I kind of stopped previously before is because you have to start using this T3 ability materials, and then you also have to increase the character to level 50, which is what, more gold on the abilities, more gold on the leveling, and more gold too as well when it comes to, you know, gearing up the character. But if you have the ability to invest into a full synergized team, then I would say bring that progression point up also too as well to that point. That would just be, you know, my next progression point that I would recommend to you. After that, after that level 50, the gold does start to increase quite a bit. So you want to make sure that the teams that you're going to be bringing and the characters that you're going to be bringing to this next progression point are characters that you really want to invest in, right? So like your A and your S teams, which would be like your Guardians, your Brotherhood, your Supernatural, you know, Fantastic Four, Power Armor, you know, like your serious characters like your SSMs, your symbiotes, like, you know, those characters are the characters that you really want to bring to this point. Level 60, which is the next progression point, gear tier 10, with the abilities at 6664, is a really good stopping point or a really good progression point where I believe a lot of teams and a lot of toons can do pretty much essentially what you need them to do. The only thing that might be holding them back might just be stars, right? It might be the yellow stars, it might be the red stars. That would be the only thing that might be holding characters back. But for the most part, you can do what you need to do with your characters. You can get done what you need to get done, like war. You can get stuff done in raids. You can get stuff done in other areas that you need to do by having them at level 60 gear tier 10. You know, with the abilities at 6664, you might just need to work on getting them some increased stars, you know, farming the shards, you know, in the stores, etc., whatever it is that you need to do. Once again, why is it level 60? The reason why you're at level 60, I have my Doctor Strange at level 63 just for an increased stats, but you don't necessarily have to do that. But the reason why you want to bring it to level 60 is because you can get these other abilities up to 6 to level 6 and then level 4, but your ultimate you can't bring to level 60. You can't bring to level 6 until you get him to the character or the toon to level 60. So that's the reason why, kind of like that's the bare minimum that you can do. But as you can see here, level 63 is kind of where I left my Doctor Strange. Past this level, the goal, as you can see, starts to really increase, and it goes up, especially even past level 65. So really my next progression point, and I'll kind of stop there, is going to be level 65 gear tier 11, you know, and that's when you can start equipping T4. So past level 64, or at level 64 and above is where you can start equipping T4s. Eventually I'll equip this T4. As you can see here with my SSM, I started to already equip, you know, I equipped his passive. SSM is fantastic, by the way. Once again, one of those standalone characters. Even if you don't have the team, definitely invest into him because he's really good. I would say to bring a character to gear tier 11, you got to be really careful about the gear, because the gear cost does increase. For instance, like with SSM, the gear cost you know, on just ABCs alone, from gear tier 8 to gear tier 10 were 64 advanced basic catalysts. But to bring him from gear tier 10 to then gear tier 11, it costs 84. And if I want to bring him up to gear tier 12, which I want to, because I need to bring him all the way up to gear tier 14 for Dark Dimension 3, just to go from 11 to gear tier 12, the ABC cost is 148, I believe. So you really want to once again consider your S and your A teams. The teams that you really want to bring above level 65 are characters that you're going to be using in like U6, U7 as you continue to like rank up in arena. You know, characters that can kind of handle higher and heavier content. You know, Dark Dimension 1, Dark Dimension 2. You know, for Dark Dimension 1, you at least probably want to have characters at 65, gear tier 11, 6 to 6-4, and maybe a T4 if that character is worthy of it, you know, to be able to do that content. But like I said, you really want to make sure that the characters that you're bringing up past that point are really characters that, you know, are your A and your S team characters and teams, to be able to do that higher content. But listen, guys, this is just my thoughts on what I believe. Also, make sure that you're only working on one character at a time. You don't want to work on multiple characters that have bio gear. You want to work on one specific character at a time in a team, and then once you're done with that character, go to the next character in that team to level them up too as well, just to save yourself once again on gear. You don't want to remember, gear is a crunch too, right? So, but listen, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Once again, please, you know, if you like the video, please hit the subscribe button. It would really help and support me if you guys did that. Thank you again so much. Really appreciate it. Have a good time, guys. Be blessed and be safe.